Yeah, so and then there's that like little loophole in the mirror exercise where if you do the mirror exercise, the behavior that triggered you either stops completely or it stops bothering you.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys are bothered and it's not stopping.
And
So
it's extremely bothered too. Not even just a little
so
bit. Not
bothered
even
that
just
you want to send me 4 pages of blackmail threatening bankruptcy. By the way, good luck.
these videos that they're making. I don't want to say all of them because there's not that many of them, but the videos that they've made regarding Vanity Fair and Vice, and the blogs that they've made regarding Vanity Fair in particular, none of them provide any proof that what was said from whether it be Alice, whether it be other people who Vice interviewed, no proof as to that these people were wrong. You know, you said you still got the emails that you sent Vice as to your responses, yet you don't show one single snippet of anything.
Oh yeah. Jeff, you made a 39 video about gaslighting based off of the conversation that you had with me, talked about me, didn't mention my name, but everybody knew it was me, for about 10 minutes in the middle of that video, completely falsifying the entire conversation, saying that you said things that you didn't even say, and
And the
saying
funny
that
thing
I said
is,
things that I didn't even say. And then you deleted the whole comment thread so nobody could get the evidence or find out what
thank you.
really happened. The reason that everything was falling apart around me. And
And I think that's a lot of people. I mean, because we were, I mean, you have people who we were so conditioned that if something happened, like you needed to mirror it, like it was
yeah,
your fault, something that you did, that you need to immediately heal that, right? Like, so, ooh, excuse me. And I mean, outside of like, all of that, I mean, people leave the group who were in, like you said earlier, just such a financial strain and financially fucked up on top of everything else, which that doesn't even help, because that just adds to the stress and the, oh, it's my fault because, I wasn't able to manifest A, B, C, and D into my life. And, I don't have this, now I don't have this. Like, and I think and I think for a few people, because I was one of them, to still continue to have a life outside of TFU, to still be able to allow myself to go hang out with friends and allow myself to have a life and not be so consumed with TFU like I know some people were. Like I think that for me made it easier to step away because I'm like, fuck it, if I lose everybody in this group, I don't give two shits. Like
I like to say often that TFU became my twin flame. I mean,
yeah.
the level of obsession that I was working with it while I was in TFU replaced the level of obsession that I had for the person who I thought was my twin flame, to the point
Mm.
where I actually got over them. I was no longer
Yeah.
in love with them anymore. I was in love with TFU, although that breakup was arguably much easier because TFU was much crueler to me than my supposed twin flame ever was. And that
Mm.
was one of the things that was so hard about letting that person go, was the fact that they never actually did anything like abusive or wrong. They were just emotionally not ready.
Yeah.
Fine and okay, and I respect their decision, and that's like fine. That's okay. Um, but yeah, it's TFU became my twin flame. And I
Mm.
began to mirror upsets having to do with the dissonance that I was experiencing within the community more than I was even focusing on the person that I thought was my twin flame or that was channeled as
Mm.
my twin flame, whether or not they are still channeled as my twin flame. Who knows? Jeff apparently told me he knows who my real twin flame is in a YouTube conversation a couple months ago. So I'm still waiting, by the way, for my channel twin flame. I don't know who it is. I'd like if you could tell me, because Alias Union and all. Like I really want to feel the love in my heart and get lots of money. Can we pause
Oh,
though? Because I got pee.
go ahead.
And you can keep that. I'm all about authenticity.
Oh my gosh, such a dork. So another thing I wanted to mention, because Jeff and Shaleia, of course, I mentioned in the video, was that they were saying that it was scary I guess they were scared, or it was scary about what was happening with all this negative press that they were getting. I guess, you know, because Vanity Fair isn't a small article. Vanity Fair is not Vice. They were definitely able to reach a lot more people, not only with the printed version of the article, but also the online article.
Sorry, can I just interject for a second? By the way, the highly contrasted images, guys, of Jeff and Shaleia against that wall is not meant to make them look evil. They're supposed to be candle flames against a wall. Like, those pictures were edited to make them look like flames against a wall. Just okay. Anyway, continue. I had to put that out there because that is not like
yeah. So for those. Yeah, so for those who don't know what she's talking about, in the blog that we'll probably end up discussing in another video, Jeff and Shaleia on their blog wrote that the pictures that were taken were made to make them look evil and sinister, which apparently was not the case. But you know, anything to try to defend themselves.
When I saw that, I was like, oh wow, that's really interesting what they did with their pictures. They made them look like flames, because if you put a candle flame like against it looked like a school gym wall almost, like a basement wall, like a finished basement wall. And I was like, oh, it looks like a candle flame. And then I saw the comments on the highly contrasted to make them look evil, and I was like, that's not at all what the artistic. Yep, that's not at all what the artist was thinking. Oh gosh, it's already 8:30. It's bedtime for me.
We'll wrap it up real quick.
Oh no, I have to read my poem that I wrote.
Okay. So it was funny because they mentioned that, you know, what was going on was very scary for them, and I had made notes that, you know, I can definitely see how the fact that this empire that they have built up could possibly come crashing down at any minute. Because as much, and I know Jeff and Shaleia talk about how they're so well off and they're, you know, living in this huge house and they've got these expensive cars, but you can't be too well off. And I've made this point in many videos, but I'll make another point, is because Jeff and Shaleia are now doing classes again.
Yeah.
So not only are they adding more students, quote unquote students, to their classes, but they are also charging more. So I think you can either do a class where you're paying, I think, $500 a month with 23 other students, because it's a total of 24 students. And of course, these classes aren't being recorded now. So, you know, no, they're not being recorded. They're not being recorded. Which of course would make sense, because, you know, I mean, I'm pretty sure someone's probably gonna end up recording the classes anyway, just so they can, you know, probably have them on their computer or whatever. Or, you know, if you can't afford the $500 a month, you can pay, I think it's like $250 to be in a classroom with 47 other people, because I think it's a total of 48 students, instead of the 24. So
gag me.
You can't be too well off if you gotta charge, if you're trying to get these many classes done with these amount of students and you're charging the price that you're charging. Because at one point in time, Jeff and Shaleia, and I will continue to say this, they always preach about how, you know, at a certain point they became so wealthy and so and they were no longer being called to do classes because they didn't have the need to, pretty much, you know, they were being guided to do other things, that they didn't need to do the classes anymore because they're recorded. So all of a sudden, you know, you're doing classes again and you're charging a lot more. Not only charging a lot more, you're taking on more students. So one, whether you're in the 24 or the 48, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna, the classes are only about an hour and a half, so 90 minutes. There's no way in hell that you are going to get the quote unquote one-on-one time you need to heal through your upsets and shit in these fucking classes. Like, there's no way. You've got 24 people divided. I'm gonna do the minimum 24 people with the 90 minutes that you got. There's no fucking way in hell. You know, Jeff likes to talk.
Oh yeah. Remember the big red bowl of Wonders?
Oh gosh.
Basically just dry ice.
Yep.
That came up in my Snapchat memories a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, wow, that took 15 minutes.
Yeah.
just to watch
It's like, you know,
all over a bowl of dry ice.
yep. It was ridiculous.
And I was like in
And
awe of him doing that. I was like, wow, my teacher is having such divine fun with his toys. I must learn from this moment. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, I was so
yeah,
on. Wow.
yeah. And it's just like, you know, how well off can you honestly be if you're having to, not only he's doing reporting again, so he's starting to do the romance reports again, where it's got like the life
Right.
purpose and all that. He's doing that again. So
Well,
not
maybe I
only is he
should
doing
buy
that
one.
again.
I can
Yep.
buy one my flavors.
Yeah, exactly. So that report is $500. So if I remember correctly, it's $500, and they sold, I think, about 24 or so, give or take, reports of that. And then on top of that, shortly after, Jeff is talking about now doing classes again. So here's the funny thing though, because at one point in time, Jeff and Shaleia were talking about how they were being guided to not only start a gaming community, which we see that went nowhere, because people weren't willing to work for free forever, in the hopes, because you couldn't guarantee that your game would make money, in the hopes that your game would make money, in the hopes that they would somehow get a cut that would be worth the time and effort that they put into it. But also Jeff and Shaleia were getting into music, but you know, I guess that doesn't work too well when you have people who don't want to do shit for free either.
Have you seen their YouTube channel, Christ Has Come?
Hell no.
Have you listened to, what was it? Pure
I've listened to shit.
Ecstasy. There's Pure Ecstasy Part 1 and there's Pure Ecstasy Part 2. It's beautiful. You have to. You must.
Girl, you about to make me watch it just for the cringe. Is it cringe?
Oh, there's no watching. It's just an audio with a black screen. Is
it cringe?
It's so cringe. I recommend getting really high and then putting it on and
challenging
yourself not to have an anxiety attack while listening. Are you gonna put it on?
Wait.
I will dance to
Wait. Wait, I'm gonna have to save it to my watch later so I can watch this crap.
Do you remember what was it? Was it
What's the channel called? What's the channel called?
Christ Has Come. It's their band. Christ Has Come. Why don't you come with him? Sorry, that's my great, because it's the great follow-up comment to like Christ Has Come and then a song called Pure Ecstasy. I mean, like, what are you trying to insinuate? Anyway,
I can't find it, yo.
You remember?
I'm gonna have to,
did they delete it? Did they realize it was crap? Oh man, hold on, I'll find it later for you.
No, I think I found it.
You did?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I lied.
Yes. Oh,
nope.
It's so you don't.
I'm gonna see if I can look up the band and then look up the song.
I'll look it up. But you remember Gabe from The Office?
Yeah.
Remember that office party that he puts on at his house where he does like the shrimp and then Andy drinks the like the horse with seahorse powder juice and he gets like all like just juiced out on like adrenaline. It was also the episode where he's puking in the toilet and Gabe has been like basically hinting that he's really into soundscapes and he like soundscapes for Andy while he's like vomiting seahorse juice into the toilet. That soundscape, personify that soundscape, give it about 3 to 4 tabs of acid, and then oh man, it's more than that though. It's make that soundscape a person, give it 3 to 4 tabs of acid, a really crappy electric guitar from Guitar Center.
Dude, I can't find it. They don't even have it linked on their YouTube channel.
They got rid of it. What a
they did?
I don't know. I'm just saying. Hold on. Christ Has Come. I found it.
Send it to me. Send it.
Okay, hold on. So, yes. Oh my goodness. It's not called Pure Ecstasy. It's called Absolute Pleasure. They have 4 songs. One of them is called Feelings at 3 minutes and 59 seconds. The other one's called Absolute Pleasure 1, which has 111 views, Twin Flames, which sits at 3 minutes and 12 seconds. And then there's Absolute Pleasure 2, which I'll give you a good snippet of. And then there's Juicy. Which one do you want to listen to? We'll just do 10 seconds.
Ew. I don't know, pick one.
I feel like Absolute Pleasure won.
It's like they don't know how to record music, so it sounds like a practice session that went horribly wrong.
Yeah, my dad has this joke about white drummers. You're never gonna find a white male drummer that's good. If you do, it's extremely rare because white men just generally can't carry a beat like at all. And this is a perfect example of that example. What measure? What was it 4/4? Was it 5/7? Was it 6/8? Was it 4/3? Like, were you even counting?
I don't even know what that was, but it sounded like hot garbage.
Hold on, I want to listen to Feelings real quick. Oh, this one's kind of relaxing for now. Yeah, this one's not that bad.
I say yeah, because it's just
no wah-wah pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff, don't use the wah-wah pedal. It's just not doing you any favors. Stick to the piano and the singing bowl. And that's it. Just a piano and a singing bowl. That's your band. It doesn't need any.
Right? Don't do anything else. Just leave it alone.
All right. You know what? My vote goes in for Feelings. That's the best one so far.
I'm gonna have to watch some of these, and it's so funny because the last day I did look up the actual the page. It's only got 36 members, which is funny considering that they stress everyone go follow their crap, but whatever.
Hey, you know what? This is not absolute crap. This is like absolute pleasure. 1 and 2.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
So the last thing so the last thing I wanted to touch base on, so they said you got a poem that you wanted to read. So the last thing I wanted to touch on, because I felt this was getting on my last F11 nerves. So it wasn't dealing with the video, but it was dealing with what the group was doing, like on their Instagram and this hashtag and what the hell they got going on or whatever. So they're having their followers try to create this movement, pretty much that ensued after Vanity Fair came out with the article. And the way they were doing their Instagram posts and the pictures they were doing on there and the hash that they were using, like for me anyway, it felt almost in a way like it reminded me of like abuse relationship survivors, like the way they had like the hashtag and stuff. Like it just felt like the way they I even forgot what the hashtag was originally when they were posting it on Instagram. But when I saw it, I was like, why does this feel like a domestic violence survivor ad? Like
yeah, with the really awkward close-ups of people's eyes and noses. It does.
Yes,
yeah,
it literally felt like a domestic violence survivor ad. Like these people
silence us.
Yeah, thank you. Like it was like that right there. I was like, is this supposed to be for domestic? Like I was like, what the hell is this? Like it just felt so off and so weird. It's just like, bruh, like it's just an article. Like it's people who voiced their opinion. Not only did Alice quote Katie, and which is a funny thing because I want to mention about this, and the blog that they had wrote, they never tried to, as far as what I read, they never tried to discredit anything that Anna and Katrina said in that article. It was only Katie.
Oh yeah, actually, that was one of the really interesting things that I noticed when I left TFU and I got in touch with Anna and Katrina. I found out they were together, and I was like, "What? You're still together?" And I don't know if it was just me or a handful of other people. I remember when ANC left, or they were kicked out of TFU. Shaleia made a comment on something, either it was Facebook or Instagram,
About how they fell out of union.
how they probably, yeah, how they fell out of union, or they probably won't stay together for very much longer.
Yeah.
And I think that had the entire community convinced, because we'd all blocked them, so we had no way
Yeah.
of knowing like whether they were, together or not. The entire community convinced that they were no longer together anymore, and they are still and going strong and happy, from what I gather anyway. And I mean, that was astonishing to me. And that, I think I did struggle like for a couple of months after leaving TFU, wondering if I made the right choice, wondering if it was all lies, if it really was all lies, if I was choosing separation, if I should go back, and
Yeah,
this.
because for those who don't know, in TFU, it was a situation where if how they had people brainwashed pretty much was if you were in quote unquote union with your twin flame, or if you were pursuing union with someone who you thought was your twin flame, you were brainwashed to believe that if you left this group, you were going to fall out of union if you were in union.
Yeah.
And you would never get with your twin flame if you were still in the process of working to be with your twin flame. Like, either if you were in union, you were going to fall out, you and your twin flame were going to break up if you left the group, or you would never find your twin flame if you left the group. That was how brainwashed people were so scared to leave the group, is because it's like, oh my God, if I leave, then, either I'm going to lose this relationship or I'm never going to get into my union.
Yeah.
And
And
so
not
when
only that, but,
when
you fall out of God's favor, you'll fall out of Jeff and Shalea's favor. Like, your whole life will fall apart. You'll end up with
yep.
disease. You'll manifest Down syndrome in your next lifetime. Like they began to not just threaten you with your union, but they began to threaten you with your very well-being,
Mm-hmm.
birthright to health, and like stability of all kinds. Like it's a scare tactic. And
Yeah.
it works. Like, it fucking works, but it's emotional abuse.
Yeah. Because I mean, as soon as I left like TFU, it's like, oh, all of a sudden I have a savings account. All of a sudden, like, I'm getting my life together. Like, all of a sudden, like, I really know what I want to pursue, and I'm working towards that. Like,
happy. I no longer have the problems that I used to have while I was in TFU. People actually like me. I do have
exactly.
work ethic. One of the reasons why I was kicked out of the headquarters and told not to be the video editor anymore was because I lacked good work ethic. And yeah, I did, because a part of me knew that TFU was fucking bullshit and I didn't want to do it. But outside of TFU, I have excellent work ethic. When I actually am passionate about a project, and I feel like I'm doing the right thing and I'm not like gypping people out of their money, I follow through immediately, and I hit deadlines, and I get things in before deadline. I show up on time. Well, still working on that one, but I mean, we all have our fallbacks, right? We all have our things that we're working on. I don't want to purport that my life is free of trouble. We all have.
Y'all have problems. We all have life going on. Like, life is life.
It throws you curveballs. You end up in a situation, you're like, fuck, how did I get here? Like, a COVID, hello? Like, things still go wrong, right? But I'm able to successfully get out of the things that go wrong without hating on myself or loving myself or doing the mirror exercise or following Jeff and Shaleia. Like, things resolve themselves sometimes if I don't do anything at all. Sometimes something will go terribly wrong and I'll say, you know what? I have no energy to even think about this right now. And the sheer effort of just doing nothing, what some people might call surrender, although I could actually just do nothing and be full of anxiety and choose to numb out, like they would call it numbing out, like choosing to just not address the situation, wait until the morning, go to sleep, watch Supernatural. That's the show I'm watching right now. And in the morning, things just automatically resolve themselves. I didn't heal anything. I didn't do any exercise. I didn't like have a coaching session. I just waited it out. And it worked out in my favor. How'd that happen? Just because sometimes shit happens and it works itself out and you don't have to do anything.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I think like It's just so weird, like, and you know, I do plan on doing a deep dive into the whole bite model and stuff like that. But to have people so brainwashed as to think that if you leave this group, everything you've worked for, everything that you're trying to accomplish in your life, and then you're like, if you leave, everything's gonna fall apart. And like, when you're looking, if you're so passionate about, you know, whether it be your life purpose or whether it be, you know, your love life or whether it be getting your finances together, it could be whatever it is, and you've got this group who is saying that we are the only way, and then you're so indoctrinated into it that they have you believe that if you leave the group in any way, sense, or form, you have to separate yourself from the group, that what you are passionate about and achieving is going to fall away. Like, of course people are less likely to do it, right? If you had
Yeah.
someone who said, hey, if you work with me, I'm going to show you how to make, you know, X, Y, and Z amount of money, right? But they're charging you twice as much, but you're not thinking about that, right? Because you're so indoctrinated into it. So they're teaching you how to make X, Y, and Z, but you're not realizing that you're still in a deficit because you're paying out double that. That's what I know that's what a lot of coaches are struggling with that right now. They're making a little bit of money off of coaching, but they have to actually mandatory that they have coachings at least twice a month, if not more, depending on their status. So it's like, yeah, you might be making money from certain coachings, but you're also dishing out that same money that you are making into coaching with another coach.
Independent economy.
Exactly. So
economy. They've created a community that works on its own currency. A lot of communities do this. Like, it's not, you know, abnormal. It's how you keep money cycling through, you know, a community, so that this is what ideally it's actually not a bad model financially, because it keeps the money in the community and not into the pockets of the 1%, which is what a lot of local communities and small towns try to do, is they try to support small businesses. So by supporting your coaches, you are keeping money in the community, but you have to keep your money in the community. You can't give it to Jeff and Shaleia because it's not going to come back to you.
Exactly, because as soon as you leave that community, what's going to end up happening is your certification is going to be gone. And then people are going to reach out to your clients, and they're going to let them know, hey, you need to pretty much stop coaching with so and so because they are no longer in good standings with Jeff and Shaleia, even though you may have liked them. These are who we would recommend.
Angie, or was it now Ozan? Ozan, did I say that right?
Whatever her name, whatever his name, whatever.
Emailed one of my clients, who, by the way, decided to keep working with me, mind you. That I was no longer in good standing and they should choose someone else to work with. No, who does that? I made that client. That's my client. I networked and created that client. There wasn't even a lead that was given to me by your leads system. I found that client on my own, and you do not have a right to take that client from me. That's, I don't even know if that's illegal. That's just bad. Like, that's just not good practice. Like, yeah. And that was one of the things that was threatened, by the way, is that if I didn't sign the live student consent form or the NDA, that I would no longer be in good standing. That's one of the techniques they used to try to get me to sign the live student consent form. By the way, the reason why I decided to leave, had you not decided to hold that over my head, I probably would have stayed until at least shit got weirder and I decided to leave. Because at that time, like, you know, you do not praise that you know, control is not the way to union, and then literally manipulate and control every single person. In no,
thank you. You contradict yourself, and then
sorry.
Oh, but
can we get to the article?
Yes.
Because I want to do it. I'm in the mood, and I haven't yawned in like 5 minutes, so we'll see.
You're good. You're good. So, all right. So now we're going to touch on the wonderful, the article, or you want to touch on the blog?
What was it? The response to Vice, Vanity Fair, Jeff and Shaleia, Twin Flames Universe, heteronormative, gaslit shit show. That's what I titled it.
Okay.
So the article that they linked in their help with conspiracy theory video.
So yeah, so we're gonna touch base on. So now we're gonna touch base on the article, on the blog that Jeff and Shaleia posted in response to the Vanity Fair article, the first blog anyway.
Numero uno, absolutely. One.
Yeah, so there's more than one, but this was the first article that came out after the video. Jeff and Shaleia, after their first video defending themselves, they came out with another video, came out with a blog going in depth about how this article that was written by Vanity Fair, Alice, was the journalist on this one, how it was pretty much bogus and BS. So we're going to touch on that.
All right, it'll be obvious that I'm reading from a script, although I'll try to make it as authentic as possible. But this was how I was feeling in the moment. A little angry, a little self-righteous, a little peaceful, a little happy, a little sad. We'll see. I mean, like, I have full range of emotions here, folks. I am not trying to be this like peaceful, smiley, calm, Buddha-esque person while I am responding to this, because hello, out here in the real world, we humans have feelings and they range, and that's perfectly normal and healthy. So anyway, so I wrote, the title of the article is response to the Vice/Vanity Fair / Jeff and Shaleia / Twin Flames Universe / heteronormative / gaslit shit show, end quote. Below, I have crafted my response to the, I'm going to put this in center of the screen so it looks like I'm looking at the camera. Below, I have crafted my response to the recent post made by Jeff and Shaleia on their website in response to the Vanity Fair article written about them that, from what they wrote, didn't hold the angelic review they thought it would. I have organized it in chronological order using direct quotes from their blog post in bigger font and indented. Oh, right. I can send you a copy of this if you want. Talking points with my responses below the talking points in smaller font and not indented. Hopefully this can shed more light on the very insignificant compared to what's happening in the world right now issue, but which does hold a lot of weight for many of us. So without further ado, ... The first quote. You cannot intimately know and tell someone's story without actually getting to know them. This is a direct quote from their response. Alice Hines kept a distance so she could manipulate our characters and smear us for attention. Are we talking about smear you guys? Like smear campaigns, smear you on a bagel? I'm not sure if that was well thought out. Smear us for attention. Keeping our attention on herself was why Alice Hines took nearly a year to write such a poorly crafted piece of meaningless drivel that could have been plopped out within a couple afternoons of work, end quote. Okay, first of all, you have no idea how journalism works with your bachelor's in business and Shaleia, your 3 unfinished bachelor's degrees in liberal arts subjects that you chose not to finish for reasons that aren't related to this article beyond the point that I'm making, which is that you have no authority on how Alice Hines should do her job, which, by the way, she carries a degree in from an Ivy League university. Get the fuck out of here, Michigan State. Second of all, you do realize there was a pandemic that occurred between the time the idea of this article was birthed and the time it actually came out. Subjects that took more precedence than your internet ascension school were basic things like COVID-19, NXIVM, Black Lives Matter, the election. Hello, new president. Need I say more? Investigative journalism takes time. And I'm sorry if this bruises your ego a bit, but you're not the most important thing in the world, even though you might think you are. Also, this was not a poorly crafted article. You just don't like it because it puts you in a bad light. But in actuality, a writer with a degree in comparative literature from Brown has way more say in what poorly crafted means over, say, your business degree, which, by the way, have you seen that atrocity that is your writing ability? Or Shaleia, your 1/3 liberal arts degree in whatever. Next question.
The shade, I love it.
Thank you. I have a degree in this, by the way, just saying. So both Alice Hines and I are able to tell you a lot more about what journalism is than you. But I mean, sorry, you channel it from God. So, all right. So another quote.
My dog.
Thank you. Alice Hines originally found out about us on a cult thread, maliciously cultivated by Katie and her hate group. Side note, Katie is not part of our hate group. Katie is not even in our group. In fact, moving on, Katie and her hate group on Reddit, which is an unchallenged forum where anyone can say anything they want about anyone. Yes, that is the beauty about Reddit, by the way.
I want to make a quote on that real quick. And I want to mention this real quick. When they talk about Reddit, Jeff and Shaleia and TFU, while I was still in the group, because I had the screenshots when I was in there, tried to do a campaign where they try to have people sign up for times and dates, to have people go into this post, this thread.
I did that. Yeah, I did
and post success stories to counterweight the
that.
negative press that they were getting in Reddit.
How many
So
times
don't
are you
try
guys
that.
gonna have to do that, Jeff and Shaleia, where you go into some internet social media platform and post success stories to prove that your work is valid? Look, if your work was valid, you wouldn't have to do that. You would just
Thank you.
let your work be valid and like carry the fuck on with your own lives. Who cares what the internet says? Internet says crap about a lot of things. Internet says a lot of crap about me, but you don't see me making posts about it every single time someone says something shitty about me, defending my honor, and then getting all kinds of other people around me to be like, oh yeah, Sarah's a great person, so fuck you. No, I go to my job, I go see my boyfriend, I eat my Chinese food. Can't have dumplings because no gluten right now, but like, that's actually really sad. Okay, I'll tell you about that later. I am upset. I'm upset that my doctor said that I can't have gluten. I'm upset that I said that I can't have gluten.
Well, I'm upset
I
because
didn't
I'm
say that.
gonna
My
be
doctor
out,
said that.
but
How do
I'm
you
gonna
figure
have some
that?
Chinese food tomorrow thanks to you, so I appreciate
Oh, you're welcome.
it.
This is for me. Think of me.
As I'm eating my veggie fried rice.
Oh, I can eat that. That's gluten free. Just can't have dumplings or just scallion pancakes. And anyway, my watch just told me to go to sleep. Look, you'll never, ever, ever. I have not been in such a social media conundrum since TFU. Now that I have this watch, I will literally be phone in this hand, watch on this wrist, computer right in front of me, and I'll get a message on my MacBook, and then my phone will go zzz, and then my watch will go, John texted you, and I'm like, I know that. Like, I know.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so anyway, I'm back to the quote. So Reddit, which is an unchallenged forum where anyone can say anything they want about anyone. Whenever we would challenge allegations made about us on Reddit, they were deleted so our voice would not be heard and the cult shaming and abusive conspiracy could continue. That's when Alice Hines decided to prey on us. Okay. So my response to that, Katie didn't actually start that cult thread. In fact, there are many people starting many different threads on Reddit about you guys. And as for the allegations about our hate group, we're not a hate group. We're a cult and abuse support center, or now we're a cult and cult and cult recovery and support group. Do we hate you? Some of us do, but we're mostly focused on helping family members who have relatives in Twin Flames universe either retrieve or let go of their loved ones, or providing real resources to individuals who have had enough of your crap. Many of us are licensed professionals in the field and are working hard to ensure that people who walk away from Twin Flames universe don't downward spiral into suicidal depression because they have been convinced that listening to their gut instincts means they're choosing separation, which in TFU terms means choosing hell, which is just another convoluted version of Catholic guilt. And oh, my heart breaks for those guys who don't walk away. For those who don't walk away, but are cut out, because not only do they have guilt, but they don't even have a shred of dignity or empowerment to go with it. They have had everything taken from them because they were taught that everything was given to them in TFU and they chose not to receive it. Emotional abuse. I'm going to reread that one.
Yeah, go.
And oh, my heart breaks for those who don't walk away, but are cut out because not only do they have guilt, but they don't even have a shred of dignity or empowerment to go with it. They have had everything taken away from them because they were taught that everything was given to them in TFU and they chose not to receive it. That is emotional abuse and manipulation and gaslighting. Next quote. We welcome the opportunity to have a deep investigation into our characters, our lives, and our thought system, which has been under vicious attack by Katie since it was revealed to be highly effective at miraculously bringing twin flames together into harmonious union. I said, you mean the 20 plus couples who some are not even together or in harmonious union anymore, were paired together after multiple years of doing your work and only having mountains of credit card debt to show for it? Yeah. some of the couples in TFU seem to be genuinely happy and real. That is not to say that there aren't people who are happy in TFU, but whether or not it was the result of your work is questionable, especially since most of the couples who got into harmonious union before and around November of 2019 were actually together as a couple before they found Twin Flames Universe. And if they weren't together as a couple, they had very small issues to work out in their relationships, of which some basic couples counseling via the live classes or an ascension coach. The next quote goes, "Our spiritual community has developed our work into a functioning religion, and people are experiencing countless miracles in their lives as a result of their adherence to it. It is a vetted system of thinking that is revolutionary, produces astounding positive results, and draws its roots from the fundamentals of all religions." No, your religion is just a collection of teachings by already established spiritual teachers around the world, mostly Abraham Hicks, Eckhart Tolle, and Shaleia's original teacher who gave her the mirror exercise, Altona. Absolutely none of it is yours. None of it at all. And your refusal to give credit where credit is due is one of the reasons why you're under so much scrutiny. But nice self-promotion with that embedded link to your website. Because the direct quote linked the functioning religion to churchofunion.com. It's universal. The other quote, "It's universal and it works every single time for every single person who honestly applies its principles and practices." Also, no. Having studied under you for nearly a year and a half, all I got out of it was a bunch of PTSD, anxiety, and tons of credit card debt due to the encouragement by Jeff and Shaleia to use credit cards to finance the classes and products if they can't afford them outright. Absolutely nothing in my life outside of TFU was miraculous, aside for the usual good things that happened to me before TFU even happened. All the miracles were within TFU. And in fact, looking back on it, none of them were miracles at all. They were just marketing ploy to get more of my money. And for the record, I'm amazed. I amassed around $11,000 in debt from these guys, and I don't even have access to the classes that I worked hard for and paid for. Jeff's reason for withdrawing my access, that he noticed multiple logins from around the world, to which I told him in the YouTube comment thread he deleted shortly before making the gaslighting video about me, that the person he channeled as my twin flame travels around the world constantly, and I gave him my login info, which Jeff encouraged in the live classes. So those multiple logins you saw around the world, Jeff, probably my twin flame. But when I said that to you in response to your YouTube comment that you deleted, you didn't say anything. You didn't even.
And I want to touch base on this. Yeah, and I want to touch base on this so people know and understand. When we had access to the classes, Jeff and Shaleia, and even in the live classes, encouraged that if you were in contact with your twin flame, that you could give it. If you couldn't share your access with anyone else but your twin flame, so that way they had the opportunity as well to watch the courses and to go through the classes as well. So it was appropriate in TFU to not only you have access to your classes, but to also give access to your twin flame, since technically you guys considered a eternal couple, to have access to the classes to view them as well. This was legitimate. This was something that you could do and was not against policies and procedures.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I did. And so for me personally, I don't know who was logging into my account from all around the world, but my guess is if it was multiple locations from around the world, per quoting your words, Jeff, in that YouTube comment, which I have a screenshot of and I can share so that people can see what you said. That was likely the person who you channeled as my twin flame. It's the only thing that makes sense. The only other thing, and then I'll comment, I'll continue on this. Travels the world constantly, and I gave him my login info, which Jeff encouraged in the live classes. Aside from him trying to check out the classes wherever in the world he was, I had my friend Zahra in South Africa try to log in when I couldn't get in one time to see if it was an error on my side. So if you saw any logins from any location in South Africa, that was that situation. Outside of that, I did not give anyone my password, not that I remember. And if I did, it was probably long after I realized I didn't have access anymore. So if you have proof of me giving my password to someone that was not channeled as my twin flame or that I mentioned above, please share it with me. Let's have a conversation. Let's sit down and chat about it, because I paid thousands of dollars to you guys, hundreds of hours of my time in return for a product that I don't have access to, that I was told I was guaranteed lifetime access. So this is what us haters are critiquing about you guys. This is what we're bringing awareness to, is really,
You don't keep your word as a
business ethic. It's not your religion that we have a problem with. It's the fact that you guys are lying and cheating and stealing. Like there's no other way to word it. So if you guys have physical proof, examples, screenshots of the fact that we're lying about that, share them, give them out, print them. I mean, you can block.
And I will say this, because I'll say the reason why I lost my access, so that way people who know, and I'm pretty sure it was I lost access after I mentioned a comment about Vanity Vice having a second article to write if I don't have access to my account. Well, I think actually I had lost access to my account before that, before even my first video went up. I didn't have access to my account. Now, this was after I'd left the group. A friend of mine had reached out and said they didn't have access, and I thought I had access to my account. And I went to log in and I didn't have access. And then when I reached out to their customer service, they told me that and this was never mentioned, just so you guys know, that I had to pay an additional $100 to have the all class pass in order for me to have access to the Wednesday class pass. Even though as a live student, if I graduated, I would have had access for life to the Wednesday class. So they sat here and tried to squeeze more money out of me for no reason, and couldn't even back up the proof that was ever said. Because when I reached out to customer service and informed them that was never mentioned to me, what was told by us through Jeff and Shaleia was that if we went through the graduation class on Wednesday class or whatever, any other class, if you didn't pay for the additional all class pass, that you would at least have life purpose, you at least have lifetime access to the Wednesday class. So all of a sudden I don't have access to Wednesday's class, and now you're telling me that I had to pay an additional $100 and something before the end of my class in order for me to have access to all the classes, when bitch, I didn't even want access to all the fucking classes. Bitch, I just want access to what the fuck I paid for. Like
exactly. I just want access to me, the likeness of my image. Because
if you can't get that to me, then take it down, delete it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a serious problem legally. That's a problem because Andrea and I and other students didn't sign the live student consent form. And there is nothing in writing that states that we are okay with you recording us and making a profit off of those recordings. There's issues legally with that. I mean, you're making a profit off of the likeness of my image, and I'm not getting any cut of the pay at all. And
exactly. And the funny thing is, you sent the form after the classes had ended. On top of that,
exactly,
you didn't even send them before the classes even started. You sent them after the classes everyone had already graduated. So, bitch, unless you're gonna give me a cut of my fucking profit, or you're gonna take my damn videos down, then you can go and take the videos down. Because unless you're gonna give me my access
videos down or deal with a lawsuit in court. I mean, unlike you guys, we actually have valid things to sue you guys over. We're just not assholes.
Yeah.
So we're not
saying with the amount of people.
We just want justice.
Class action lawsuit, boo boo.
That's a real class action lawsuit, exactly. Which is, I mean, the next paragraph is basically what we just talked about. It bodes a lot of questions. First of all, why so stingy about sharing passwords? Netflix doesn't do that, and their content is arguably worth a lot more than what your Twin Flame Ascension purpose classes, but with like multi-million-dollar movie franchises on there that they have to pay a ton of money. Netflix is not like, we paid $1 million for this movie to be made for you, and you shared your password with your boyfriend. How dare you?
Right.
Second of all, did you not believe me when I told you the person you channeled as my twin flame traveled the world and was probably trying to log in on his computer and the locations he was traveling to? Or do you not believe that person is my twin flame? And lastly, I brought up both of these points on the YouTube comment. I already mentioned this, that you responded to none of them and only asked me why it mattered, because I clearly didn't want to watch the classes or take them seriously. Not
doesn't matter. I paid for it.
Yeah. Just use them as a way to find material to use against them, which brings me to my conclusion. You're terrified of us. Jeff and Shaleia, you are terrified of us.
I have the classes though.
scares the crap out of you, because if it didn't, you wouldn't bother cutting off my access and the others, which I have a right to, by the way, because not only did I pay for it, but I'm in it.
Exactly. And I
The
actually
profit
have
off
I had downloaded some of the classes before my access was taken away. So I actually do have some of the classes.
Oh yeah, no, I have some too. I mean, I was the video editor, so I had access. I was able to download videos onto my hard drive. I've got a couple, you know, sue me, don't do that. I mean,
I'm
I
about
don't
to
know,
pay for shit.
be able to. Yeah, I got a couple classes that, I mean, they're not really ones that I'm in, but yeah, I mean, when I was video editor, I was able to download a couple of things, a couple of videos didn't get cleared from my hard drive, decided to keep them on. Haven't done anything with them, no big deal. Haven't watched them, but still, I mean, anyway, so you're making a profit off the likeness of my image, which I have already expressed I did not want when I refused to sign the NDA and live student consent forms, which you sent out in September of 2019. Next quote, I'm gonna need some water. Next quote, or some tea. Bring it back to the first video, full circle. The article Alice Hines wrote for Vanity Fair magazine follows our primary hater and former student who hides under the pseudonym Katie. By the way, she has to, because of all the legal crap that she got into because of your teaching. The article reviews that Katie is clearly an unwell person. That's fine, that's your opinion. Not everybody agrees with you, not everybody disagrees with you. Most of us are not too happy about Katie being the star of that article, although Katie is free to live her life however she wants without being judged heavily for it. Having Katie be the main story in the article does put most of us in a bad light, but that's okay. One look at our group and you'll see that we're people from all over the world having successful jobs, businesses, relationships, and not running away from our problems. We simply want justice. And for the record, Katie has had it rough. So even if the article following her does make VF's audience think of us as vile people, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because the amount of trauma that Katie went through before, during, and after her experience in TFU would have sent a lot of people on a quest to live out of a van and be a DJ. You have no right to tell the world what Katie can and can't do with her life until you have been in her shoes, and you haven't. You have not. Jeff, Shaleia, I don't know your history, but I'm pretty sure you have never suffered from chronic illness. I'm pretty sure you've never suffered from spinal surgery. I'm pretty sure you have never suffered from, a car accident, major head trauma, like all the things, not just things that Katie's been through, but you can't just say how someone can live their life when you haven't lived their life. You have no idea what this person is going through, whether you're channeling divinely from God or not. Like this is something that's a sensitive issue, and you have no right to judge a person based off of an experience that you can't even fathom, because it hasn't happened to you. And if it has, please tell me. I'm happy to correct my words if I am wrong. I have no fear of being wrong. So anyway, next quote. Alice is a lot more like, and this is where I wrote my poem. It's not really a poem, it's more spoken word. Should perform at New York Poets Cafe. Alice is a lot more like an evil Nazi scientist performing extremely harmful experiments not yet covered by laws because of all the gray areas allowed on all the media platforms in this new digital and virtual age of the internet.
Why is everybody who speaks against them Nazis?
All right, this is where I responded to this. Feelings were felt in this one because I'm Jewish and I have family that have died in the Holocaust. And my grandfather on my dad's side was a doctor in the camps, and he helped rescue survivors from the camps after the war was over. And the stories that I have heard and the experiences that I have gone through being Jewish, granted, it is not the worst level of oppression to experience in this current age, but it has been bad in the past. And we carry that with us. Ancestrally, and we take it seriously. Like if somebody brings up Nazis, aside from the occasional joke that is spoken to alleviate the pain, when someone brings up Nazis and the Holocaust, we take it really seriously. So this is not something that I am about to speak on that's light. Can you guys just stop comparing us to Nazis? You have never been, currently are not, and never will be Jewish, nor will you ever understand the pain and suffering that an entire ethno-religious group has felt by losing 6 million of its people to a fascist system that physically tortured, starved, and burned people dead and alive, based solely on their religious practice, their sexual orientation, and their physical appearance. Until we have kicked you out onto the street and taken all of your belongings, we are not Nazis. Until we have taken you and your kin in the middle of the night, shoved you into dark cargo trains, taken you to a camp with no food, water, or proper shelter for the only reason of killing you slowly, we are not Nazis. Until we have sat you down in a chair, naked, in a dark and cold chamber, shaved your heads, tattooed a 5-digit number on your forearm, and forced you to wear prison clothes riddled with lice, crabs, and mites, we are not Nazis. Until we have woken you in your sleep, marched you barefoot through a foot of snow into a dark chamber where you thought you would take a shower, only to pour scalding hot water on you until your skin peeled off your body from the 3rd-degree burns. We are not Nazis. I could stop here, but I'm not going to, because when you say things like this, I don't think you realize how much the words you use have weight. And they are heavy, really fucking heavy. Shaleia, until we have picked you as a special woman, taken you to a house where each and every one of us raped you until you died, we are not Nazis. Jeff, until we have stood next to you, forced you at gunpoint to push Shaleia into a burning oven, you cannot use that term, don't you dare. How dare you use that word, a word that has cost the lives of millions just for the sake of attaching validity to your own sick delusions of who we are. Fuck you. I don't give a shit how you feel and that your profits are sinking because of your own destructive habits that a journalist decided to write about. You are sick. You are a sick, narcissistic sociopath with a messiah complex. And the only thing you are experiencing right now is karma. So suck it up, eat your vegetables, and just be a better person. It's really not that hard. That's that.
I know.
So, is the rest of the article really that important? It's more of the same shit, but I can keep going if you want. I just really
go, I mean, go ahead and
do
what you go over what you were able to go over or analyze.
Yeah, I mean the Nazi thing is a hard hit, and it's just so not okay on so many levels. And I could keep giving examples too, but I think y'all got the point. So the next chunk of this article is just a baseless claim of victimization using the same rhetoric in the first half, so I'll refrain from even commenting on it and get to the claims. The next quote that I quote, when will our true story be told by someone other than us? When will we be given an honest opportunity to speak to an actually unbiased party about our thought system and its miraculous benefits, which are literally healing people and dramatically changing their life for the better? When will our thought system be openly challenged to honest scientific inquiry? Alice was unbiased. You had a chance to make yourself look good in the eyes of the public, but messed it up. Sorry. But a journalist that wasn't involved with TFU or its haters before taking on a project is just about as unbiased as you can get. What you really want is someone who is a proud student and member of your organization to write good reviews for you and publish them in the media. Well, go tell one of your students to get a degree in journalism and foster them through the process of paying for college, finding a stellar internship, and landing a writing gig at a highly competitive magazine. Go ahead, we'll wait. Or you can just pay an unbiased writer to publish good things about you. That's what a lot of politicians do in this country, like Trump. Trump does that. Which, by the way, I don't know how they're feeling politically about this now, but at one point they glorified Trump. They talked about how Trump, in the live video about Anna Katrina leaving, how Trump was doing good things for the country. Okay. And I brought that up and I was just like, wait, how are you supporting Trump right now? He's a bad person. And Jeff actually said, oh, you're distracting us from the main point. Okay.
Like, what?
What? This is
I remember that video.
Yeah. Anyway, next quote. We were miraculously bringing together twin flame unions! Exclamation point. Okay, sure, have fun. Just make sure you're not punishing people who supposed twin flame left because they were told they were a gender or sexuality they didn't feel any authenticity with. Next quote, we are healing psychological traumas. Okay. Until you have a double-blinded peer-reviewed study that shows the results of X amount of people being healed from your work, you cannot make that claim. You just can't. And everyone in the scientific and psychological community laughs at this, FYI. If it were truly effective at healing trauma, a company or university would have already funded you years ago and published multiple studies on the efficacy of MAP. Instead, no institution will take you seriously because they see that your work bears a lot of similarity to methods like somatic experiencing and almost identical similarity to neuro-linguistic programming. Only
NLP.
your method funnels its participants into a religion, and the others are practiced by licensed. Sorry, I'm just talking real fast. And the others are practiced by licensed professionals who treat their patients and then release them back out into the world or continue to work with them if a therapeutic bond has been developed that is mutually beneficial and helpful. Next quote, we are changing the world for the better. So are the hundreds of other spiritual teachers out there. You're not the only ones. Also, your redundant usage of scientific method is unimpressive and vague. Next quote, in a society with which supposedly prides itself on scientific thought, when does logic actually take precedence over mobbing the intrepid explorers who dare think, say, or do something different than the status quo? Stick with the status quo. No, no, no. Sorry. I was in that show. I was 13. Actually, our society is having, oh, can we talk about Zac Efron for just a hot second? He has aged well. Anyway, actually, our society is having a really hard time priding itself on scientific thought. Things like abortion rights, sexist and racist political thought influencing lawmaking, and the fact that religious organizations are able to function tax-free is evidence that we have a really hard time separating church from state. And issues that could be resolved with scientific thought are still in limbo because of that. This is actually one of the main reasons why you are even legally allowed to do what you do. If we as a society actually functioned in any matter of scientific dignity, you would be shut down and arrested so fast, you wouldn't even be able to file a plea bargain. Anyway, the next quote. The only thing Alice Hines seemed to legitimately pin us for was when we would apparently say contradictory things. This is my favorite part, besides the Nazi thing. The only thing Alice Hines seemed to legitimately, what did I just say? Legitimately pin us for was when we would say apparently contradictory things, when in reality, we have been rock solid in our integrity without even the slightest deviation for years.
That's a lie.
You literally just contradicted yourself in a statement about how Alice noticed that you tend to contradict yourself when you actually don't. So what's fact? Alice's legitimate pin, or are you creating a contradiction within a contradiction? Also, some evidence of examples where you tend to contradict yourself, but not really, would be nice. And my last and final quote, because my lunch break was over and I had to eat my soup and I was just getting tired of the bullshit. We do not control an army of brainwashed sheeple, but we courageously lead a group of independent thinkers who we have painstakingly nurtured to think for themselves and repeatedly test us through our thought system for themselves using the scientific method. Jeff, bingo question, free bingo question, Jeopardy question. What is the scientific method? Please name all the steps for me and please state how you are using those steps in your group and your practice so that we can know what you mean when you say the scientific method. There you go with that scientific method crap again. Evidence, my friend, evidence. You saying you use a scientific method without showing proof of how you used it and what your results were makes your process about as unscientific as you can get. Also, encouraging your students to be independent thinkers, huh? So this happened. So when I challenged you and Shaleia on the detrimental effects of eating meat and dairy, while linking studies like the China study and multiple sources on how excess meat and dairy can lead to chronic health issues and weight gain, how was I encouraged to be independent? Shaleia told me that she didn't appreciate my attitude, or that when I was about to move in with you for the first round of the TFU house, and expressed that I'm not comfortable eating red meat, and you, Jeff, told me that I have an upset around my dad to heal, and when I healed it, I would be okay eating beef. I'm still not into eating beef. And that is primarily just a result of me never eating beef and not having an appetite for it. And when I look at a hamburger on a billboard, I see a Boca burger and it sounds yummy because it's a Boca burger. Yeah, so yeah, and that's a whole other section of their view on diet and what the fuck is divine dish. Literally, you a turkey wrap and blessed it by Jesus and then charged $500 to eat it. That shit is no different than the stuff that I put together in my kitchen, but my portions are twice as big and I don't gain weight. So
because they had a problem against people who were vegetarian and vegan. Like I remember like Shaleia, like Jeff, yeah, like Jeff had to catch Shaleia at one point because like she was going ham on people who were vegan, but Jeff knew that I was vegan. Like
vegan?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I had no idea. Wait, no, I did. We definitely talked about this.
Yeah, but like he knew I was vegan, and I guess he must have realized that okay, like this might, because I think it was in a class, because it's like, you know, if you're downing people who are vegetarian and vegan, like, and people watch that, like they're gonna be turned off by that. And I think Jeff, like caught her and was like, yo, like what's your issue with like people who are vegan and vegetarian? Like, and then, like he just like, and he got off the subject real quick and went towards something else. But it's like,
yeah, I have no idea. I still don't. I mean, I never stayed long enough to watch that come full circle. I was just there for the beginning of Divine Dish, but like when I look at the dishes that are part of Divine Dish, they look like regular dishes.
yeah.
Like, it's
So what's
stuff
so
that they
divine about
make.
them?
I mean, Jason, bless his heart, is probably an excellent chef because I think he went to school for cooking.
Yeah,
So,
he
like,
did.
yeah, so like he probably is a great cook and he probably makes a kick-ass recipe book and he probably has a great meal service and he could really turn that into something fantastic, and maybe it already is, but it's not like the meal plan for Ascension. Like,
Yeah. Like what did they have? What did Alice say they had? Like a sandwich on bread with like some grilled pineapple. Like, bruh, like that's a divine dish. Okay.
I mean, it's just it's the least worrisome part of their group, honestly. Like
That part.
Divine Dish, like, you know, eat your food. I only worry because, you know, I saw a post about
They're charging people for
1,200
that.
calories a day once, and I'm like, that is less than your resting uh basal metabolic rate, which is concerning because that's how you give your body a metabolic damage, and you need
Yep.
enough calories. And that cycling, that high carb, the keto, the low carb keto, back and forth,
Yeah.
you know, low calorie stuff, like, yeah, you're gonna lose weight, but you're gonna gain it all back. Like,
It's
you know.
yeah. So and it's funny because I actually I was certified as a personal trainer. So one thing that we had to learn
I didn't
was,
know about this.
yeah, it was like, you know, eating, and then also, yeah, I even took a class that was offered on based on nutrition alone. Like it wasn't even just, you know, the physical, you know, the aspects of, you know, being a personal trainer, but it was just nutrition by itself, and like, you know, the damage and stuff that your body goes through when you put yourself, you know, you put your body through these, you know, traumatic changes, and you know, end up putting yourself, you know, your body into a point where it becomes goes into starvation at some point. And at that point, you just, you know, your body's going to consume what or keep whatever you consume, because it's like, bitch, I don't know what I'm going to eat next. So
Remember
yeah.
though, I remember the days where I would starve myself. I remember the days when I would eat less than I really wanted to because I was terrified of gaining weight. And I remember the days where I would count on calorie restriction to lose weight, and it never, ever, ever gave me the results that I want. In fact, just you know, I mean, I know Andrea will probably agree with me on this one. In fact, for me, losing weight, that happens when I actually eat more than I burn, and I keep it at really high carbohydrate, decently low fat diet, mostly plant based, and I just move my body, and eat when I'm hungry, also known as intuitive eating, which really should just be eating. But you know, move your body, eat when you're hungry, stop eating when you're full, eat mostly plants, high fiber. You know, like none
And
of
I know a
what
lot of
is this
people's bodies are
crap?
different and stuff
Keto
like
is for
that, but
people who have epilepsy.
yeah. And you know, I know everybody's body is different, so you know, this is just, you know, a general, like, just for me anyway. Like, I'm a person who you know, I don't eat meat anymore, and I don't eat dairy or whatever. But I kill carbs, like I demolish carbs. Like I'm all for the
Yeah, me too. I've never been leaner
and
in
the
my life.
tortillas and all of that. And I weigh about 135, close to 140, give or take.
Yeah.
And my body mass, I say as far, oh, my body fat percentage is somewhere around like the normal athletic range or whatever. But
Yeah.
people look at me like, there's no fucking way you weigh 135. And I'm like, bitch, I weigh 135. Like,
How tall are you?
huh?
How tall are you?
5'4". But I work out a
Oh,
lot.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm 5'7" and I'm about 140. Yeah.
Well, technically, I mean, if you just go based on weight and height, technically, I would technically be considered overweight. But if you're looking at fat percentage versus like
Yeah, I
muscle
don't
mass.
trust the BMI. The BMI index lies.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So, but yeah, like some people look at me and they're like, "There's no fucking way you weigh 135," and I'm like, "Bruh, I do." Like,
yeah,
and I can carb like a bitch.
if we're diving into like the type of eating that's encouraged in TFU, I mean, like I actually gained like 15 pounds in TFU, and I got up to 160, I think, which for me, I mean, I know that there are people who are my height who are 160 and they feel great, and that's fine. Like no fat shaming here, nothing
Yeah.
for me. You do what feels good, but I felt like I had like a backpack of rocks strapped all over my body, that I was just carrying around this extra 20 pounds of weight that I just could not stand to carry around. I felt tired. I felt lethargic. In fact, a lot of my Lyme symptoms came back when I was in TFU.
Mm.
Although I would swear I was healed, because I was under this guise of feeling like I was at peace and I was fine. Because when you get that external validation from Jeff and Shaleia and your coaches that you're doing a good job, you can kind of internalize that and sort of make believe that you are better. But in reality,
Yeah.
I was chronically exhausted. I was off my medication for ADHD, so I was distracted. I had a hard time staying focused. I had a hard time getting places on time, making executive decisions like in a healthy and mature way. And this isn't to say that I'm dependent on ADHD medication now. It's just to say that like I was sort of, faking my health, when in reality I was actually really unhealthy. And since I left TFU, the weight just fell off. Like I resumed the lifestyle that I had before I was in TFU, which was active and moving around. I wasn't sitting in front of a computer all day,
Mm-hmm.
scanning the forum for haters and ex-members who were posing as fake people. And I went outside. I saw the sunlight. I had I moved. I ate better. I lost like 15 pounds in 6 months. It was great. And I keep losing weight even to this day, because my natural weight is like between 130, like 135 ish. So, that for me, like as my adult woman body, I feel
Mm-hmm.
that's a healthy weight for me. And when I'm meant to stop losing weight, I'll balance out naturally, because I don't trick my body into thinking it needs to do this or do that. I'm just following my intuition,
Yeah.
which is far, far, far away from TFU. Oddly enough, I am healthier and happier. So weird. What a coincidence.
I know, right? Uh, but yeah, I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to kind of go over or mention, quickly mention or anything like that. I know we've been talking for a while, and we'll
Oh,
find out in the video.
like almost exactly, what is it? Almost 3 hours? Was it so?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, exactly 3 hours.
yeah,
This is gonna get broken down.
I'm
Well,
cool with it.
I can go to bed. I'm certainly a little tired. Yeah, I'm good. We can keep in contact, and obviously, if something else inspires me, I will message you. But no, this feels good. This feels complete. As they would say in TFU, I feel complete. I feel at peace here. I think we can end this video.
Yeah, I feel good.
Good.
All right, boo boo. Well, get some sleep. Have a good night.
Thank
And I
you.
will talk to you later.
Obvious.
And everyone else, thanks for watching after the edited version of all this. I'll probably have to break
Yeah,
this up in sections, but they'll be all right.
part where I had to pee. By the way,
All right.
the whole course
Get
of
some
the
night. Get
video,
some
I
sleep.
ate like a chocolate bar and a half. Just put that
Huh?
out there. But during the course of this video, I ate an entire bag of sugar snap peas, family sized, and a bar and a half of chocolate.
Hey, do what you do, boo
That was the
boo.
life. It is the life. All right. Good night.
All right, have a good night, boo boo. Get some sleep.
Thank you. You too. Bye.